Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be sharing the number one thing I do to make my colored pencil artwork look more realistic. If you have ever been disappointed with your colored pencil drawings, it's likely because it turned out grainy and unfinished looking. And you might wonder why that is. Why other artists can achieve a painterly finish to the colored pencil drawings and you can't. The secret to making your colored pencil artwork look more realistic is learning how to create a smooth blend. Today I'm going to be drawing this blue chrysanthemum and talking about my tips for getting rid of the graininess that is often associated with colored pencils and learning how to create a smooth blend with your colored pencil drawing. So tip number one is that you're going to need a lot of layers. My colored pencil drawings are made up of multiple light layers of pencil. I start out by laying down my darkest shadow areas and then layering and overlapping my lighter colors and midtones on top. This will help you create a smooth transition between your shadows and your midtones without any harsh dividing lines. Tip number two is to use really sharp pencils. I try to keep my pencils nice and sharp and rotate them frequently to maintain a sharp point. This helps the pigment get down into the grooves of the paper and also helps you avoid any splotchiness that might occur when you have your pencils too dull and they're not reaching down into the tooth of the paper. Tip number three is to use a solvent. After I have layered several layers of pencil on the paper, I like to use a solvent or paint thinner to dissolve the pencil pigment. I use the paintbrush to smooth out any graininess and blend the layers together. This gives me a really nice smooth base for my next layers of pencil. If you don't want to use solvent, simply continue to layer until the graininess is gone. You can also experiment with blender pencils and pens. Tip number four is burnishing. In my final layers, I will sometimes use a burnishing technique. And to me, this simply means that I press really hard with my pencils in order to completely flatten out the tooth of the paper and create a consistent, smooth surface. Typically, I will use a white or light pencil when I do this, but technically you can use any color you want. Tip number five is to take your time. Take your time and keep working on a single area until it looks good. One of the biggest mistakes I see with colored pencil artwork is that it simply isn't finished. Colored pencil is a slow medium, so listen to an audiobook or a podcast or music and slow down. If you aren't happy with your drawing, devote another hour to it and see what it looks like then. This blue mum took around 30 hours, but I think the extra time I put in was worth it. I was originally planning to do a series of 9 of these flowers, and I decided to cut it back to 6 in order to make sure that each one looks its best. I would rather have 6 really stunning drawings than 9 so-so drawings. And I think you can see from the video footage how much time I put into every single one of these petals. Tip number 6 is to practice. I am still working to make my drawings look more and more realistic, and with practice I've discovered some subtle techniques and transitions that really do make a big difference. I recently created an activity for my students over on Patreon that focused on using blending techniques to create a smooth gradient of color. I really hope to do more of these gradients in the future because it was a very successful assignment, meaning I personally learned a lot from doing it. You can learn all about my process and follow along with hundreds of video-based lessons, including extended footage of this blue mum over on Patreon if you are interested in learning how to draw this yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.